There you are.
Hey there, we're Krystal and Eric, corporate remote workers, Airbnb photographers, and now full-time van lifers. We like traveling off the beaten path and finding hidden gems along the way. If you like that too, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more. And come along with us today as we post a video every day for our first 30 days in the van. Tomorrow marks the 1-week anniversary of our moving into the van full-time. And now that we have the interior squared away, I figure it's finally time to come back here and tackle the garage. And I know that 1 week doesn't sound like that much time, but it has felt like a lifetime, and we've learned so much in that 1 week. So while we tackle this garage, why don't I tell you a little bit about what we've learned in our first week of van life. The first lesson that you learn pretty quickly is that moving in is just like moving houses. Let's see how much of our everyday stuff is gonna fit into this van. How'd you get in there? When I was carrying box after box of things down from the attic and our apartment into the van, I had this deja vu feeling. I was like, why does this feel so familiar? And that is because it feels and is just as difficult as moving houses. Now this might seem counterintuitive because the van is such a small space, but in reality, you're taking everything that you need from your life from one place to this van. And it just so happens that this place was much, much smaller than any place you've ever lived before. And because of that limited space, it's been actually even a little more difficult than some of the larger scale moves that I've been a part of. At the same time as moving, you're trying to find a home for all of these things that you definitely need. I really underestimated the moving in aspect of this and how taxing that was actually going to be and how much time it was going to take. The first night we moved in, we didn't even eat dinner until after 9 p.m. My people over 30 know. That's... what? And the second one will be familiar to most homeowners, but having never owned a home before, I was not prepared for just how many accidents will happen. You have to prepare yourself for when screws come loose, when it's not your fault, definitely not your fault, especially not my fault. Some people make mistakes when they have new stuff they don't quite understand and open something without removing the cushions and popping screws out of the wall. Get out of here. No bees. I don't want you in my house, dude. You gotta get out. I mean, like, even this. And none of this is any particularly big deal, but I have learned that having a toolkit on hand, super helpful, and having a good mindset that to roll with the punches, because they're definitely gonna come, is gonna help so much in the long run. And now that everything's pretty much out of the van, let's see if we can get it back in a way that makes sense. The third thing that we learned in our first week of van life is that organization is everything. So even if you are naturally organized, which I am not, van life is a master's course in organization. Because you're living in such a small space, if even one thing is out of place, it begins to look messy immediately. It can be so easy to get overwhelmed if you don't know where everything should be. Organizers, bins, labels, they're all going to be your best friend once you get into the van. You cannot be spending all of your time digging through all of your stuff to find the item that you were looking for. In our case, pulling out these Velcro seats or popping out these cabinets, it's gonna take way too much of your brain power and time. So I cannot stress enough how much organization has been a lesson when moving into the van. Now that the garage is all squared away, I'll share the last lesson that we learned in our first week of van life. Although there is a really steep learning curve and the mistakes that you make can be quite punishing, I really found it to be so much more mindful in the van than out of the van. When you're living in a van, you have a lot of different things to keep track of, like how much energy you're using or how much water you're using, how much do I have left? And yes, that is a little bit more complicated, but it does also ground you in the real world. Just tracking the activity on my phone, in terms of screen time, I'm down 44% this week versus last week. Being able to be more present, especially during this time of moving into the van, has been a really great feeling. That's gonna do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If there's anything you wanna know about van life, leave it in the comments below. Like this video and subscribe for more. We have a lot more van life content coming, so we'll see you in the next one. Bye. It really is a mess in here. The tripod that I even wanted for this shot is somewhere in here. I'm not using it right now. I can't find it.